Hey, hi guys. Thanks for
Hi.
joining us. I'm sorry I'm still without my camera. I'm staying at a friend's house for a couple of weeks. We have a guest with us today. This is George. Say hi, George.
Hi
Say
there.
hi to everyone. George is
Hi.
has got a lot in common with Harry because George is Greek. But George lives in Thailand. How long have you been in Thailand, George?
I've been here close to 7 years so
Wow.
far.
You,
Yeah,
you enjoying it?
very much. Feels
Good.
like home.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
place. Well, guys, George reached out. George is a long-time subscriber to the channel, and George reached out to me a few days ago after watching the podcast where I was talking about my milk. Um, and George contacted me and said, "No, I've got a really interesting story to tell you." And when he told me, I went, "Wow, you've got to join me and Harry on the next podcast." So, do you want to go ahead and tell everyone what happened, George? Because this is fascinating.
Sure. I'll summarize it right now. But yeah, every time I recount the experience, it brings chills every time. Um, so, I live in Bangkok, and me and my girlfriend have a summer house in Chiang Mai, northern Thailand. And we try to visit there as often as we could. Um, this experience I'm going to recount is about 5 months ago. So, we were, I was living there, and this happened during the evening time. I oftentimes, I'm just sitting there late at night in front of my computer. We live in a house that's a single floor, and it's about 70, 80 square meters, so it's not that big. It's two bedroom. And I'm very sensitive to subtle energies and things like that. So I was just sitting there in front of my computer, and I just felt this weird shivering come through me. And my girlfriend was in the bedroom, and normally I can hear her. Usually she's watching TV or listening to her phone, and this perturbing silence came about that I wasn't like. I'm like, whoa, what's this? So just knowing that shift, I just made me get up and start like calling out to her, which I did. And I wasn't getting a response. So our place is small. Looking around at every room, didn't see her. I even went outside in the yard calling her name. There was nobody, silence, dead silence. So this happened for about a minute and a half, like me looking everywhere, going back in the house, locking the gate, because it was like a gated. We have a gate on at every window and door there. So uh, once I did that, I was going back to the room. She's like, George, like she tapped me on the back, and I'm like, I got like shaken up, like I almost saw a ghost, like. And she was there, and I'm like, you didn't hear me? And she's like, I just heard you once. I've been in the bedroom all this time. She's like, I'm like, what? I was in and out of the bedroom so many times, you weren't there. So again, looking back and trying to explain it to Nigel, I thought like I phased in and out of maybe of the timeline or something like that.
Mhm.
It just felt very very awkward. And when I just felt like, because for her it must have been like seconds, and for me it
Mhm.
was like a minute and a half. So there was definitely a time. The way we were observing time was totally different too. When I
Yeah, well,
when
like I said to you, George, I don't think it was her that disappeared. I think it was you. And
Yeah,
I know that sounds crazy, but I think it was on our last podcast, Harry, where we were talking about the movie Antidote.
Yeah.
And it's not a good film, but the story is mind blowing.
right.
Same kind of thing, same kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, guys, anybody out there listening to this, um, please let us know what you think. And if any of you guys have had a similar experience, then again, please let us know whether or not you want to share it with us, with everybody, or you just want to let me or Harry or George know. Then please please do. But that 1.5 minutes, George, must have seemed like 10 minutes at the time. It must have done.
It did. It did. And
Yeah.
I'm not senile, and it's not like I was losing my mind. I was conscious, fully conscious and aware of my surroundings, and it just was one of the most ghastly experiences I've ever encountered.
I bet it was. It's scary. It's scary. I mean, even with my bottle of milk, and I got nobody else there to witness what was going on, but I fucking shit myself. I'm like, what the hell?
I think a lot of people probably experienced something very similar, but not at a grand scale, like you missing your girlfriend. When we go through a doorway and we go to a different room and we don't remember, what did I come here for? And like I said, we're not becoming senile. We're not becoming forgetful. It's just that portal, that doorway where we cross it, and then things change. So
absolutely. And Paul on What the Flock TV did an awesome podcast. I've mentioned it before on the doors. So all right, well, thanks for sharing that with us, George. Right, guys, we've got a lot to get through and we've only got 40 minutes. So I'm going to give you my thoughts on this particular topic, which so many people have been talking about. But I'm going to do it from a different perspective. So a bit of a problem sharing the screen here. And then George is he's got a 5-slide presentation that he's going to talk us through as well. So this blew me away. Let's read it together. The conspiracy theorist is the modern day spellbreaker and soul whisperer. The one who, despite an absolute tidal wave of deception, brainwashing, and endless lies in this weird distortion realm, has either remained immune or broken free from all this dark magic and mind control. They are more often than not ostracized and belittled, relegated as crazy and paranoid by all too trusting, naive, and comatose societally indoctrinated masses. They can see something is off here, even when the rest, often times even within their inner circles and family, are continually doubting and ridiculing them. Something inside is setting up alarms. You first feel a sense of doubt. Something isn't adding up here. Wait a minute, nothing is adding up here. I can feel it can feel much like being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Exactly what George was just talking about. Like a nightmare you're unable to wake from. But the fact that you are aware that something is way off, despite the super uncomfortability of it and lack of being able to fit in, is actually a huge breakthrough. Your soul has broken through the wall after wall of conscious imprisonment to reach this revelation. The change and mind wipe amnesia programs can no longer bind nor control you. You have broken the spell, broken free after millennia of imprisonment that you were not even aware you were in. Now you free others. Harry, this is what we always talk about. We've come here to help others. Conspiracy theorist is their word for indomitable spirit warrior, here to waken the collective. Welcome back, ancient warrior. How cool is that?
That is.
And then I came across this Center for Reincarnation Studies. Welcome back.
Better than the welcome mat, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Now, Harry, you and I did a podcast last year on these stadiums, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stadiums are ritual energy extraction sites. The NFL stadiums below are all seeing eyes. Imagine these full of cheering people sending colossal amounts of competitive, worshipping, idolizing energy and vibrations through the eyes, all over the country simultaneously, and projecting it into the universe. We did one. We talked about the Colosseum. Yeah. The magicians behind the curtains know that human consciousness co-creates reality based on what the mind believes to be true and real. This process is amplified when instilled in the collective consciousness of the masses. They are projecting what they want into your mind, so you build it for them.
We even talked about
Amplified.
that during the last Super Bowl too.
Yeah,
Because it was from that SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles.
yeah, amplified.
Yeah, these guys are masters at siphoning energy. I mean, they know how to structure the architecture in such a way so as to you know, basically leech off of it in the etheric realms.
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, now this is something that George says he's going to try. I'm going to try. And when I read it, I remembered that my dad, when I was a kid growing up, my dad had a greenhouse. And whenever he planted seeds, he would always suck them, put them in his mouth and suck them. He'd sit there watching TV the night before he was going to plant these seeds, and he'd sit and suck them. Now, Crow's just done an awesome podcast on this topic. Plants have super intelligence. If you put your saliva on the seed of an edible plant and then place it in the soil, something miraculous happens. The seed absorbs your saliva, begins to read your DNA and structure its own genetic blueprint to be a superfood based on any deficiencies or requirements that your DNA is signaling. This powerful ancient connection between humans and seeds is not acknowledged by mainstream academia due to the potential power it could have. Now, yeah, as I say, my dad used to suck them.
Well, how many of the foods that we have today are seedless?
Well,
even,
yeah,
even the ones that say that they're
that's true.
They're not non-GMO, and that they're still seedless. How is that?
That's true. Okay, so we all know what happened to the GG, the 7-7 in Georgia Guidestones. Now, you know, most people are aware of these 10 quote unquote commandments, but I'm going to look at them through a different pair of eyes. You can see this is not a very good screenshot, but it's talking about the time capsule below, right? To be opened on no date. Now, why would there be no date? Because these are not meant for us. Now, if you are familiar with this guy, Jason from Archaics, you'll know that he talks a lot about calendars, right? He talks a lot about calendars and how calendars have changed over the years. And guys, you know, watching this, I know that a lot of you are familiar with Jason, especially this particular video. I mean, Cheryl Bailey, Pam Swan, Chris Buckley, Robin Landry, Jama Barker, well, you know, you were all either in the chat or you've left a comment. So I don't need to explain to you guys what he's talking about, but he talks about the 138-year reset. Well, what if these Guidestones, what if the messages on these Guidestones were meant for the people, whoever is here after the next reset? Maintain humanity under 500 million, not reduce, in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. And don't forget, these were written in Sanskrit as well. I mean, who the hell reads Sanskrit these days? Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all the things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Well, what have we been suffering these last God knows how many years?
Yeah, that's all we have.
Petty laws and useless officials. Yeah. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love. Seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Now, if that is not a message for whoever comes after the next reset, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And you know what? The crazy synchronicity was, I was watching a video where they were talking about, you know, the traditional thoughts of the Guidestones, and I'm thinking, no. I'd listened to one of Archaics, and I'm thinking, what if they were created for the benefit of whatever population comes after this the next cataclysm. And bugger me, while I was sitting thinking about that, a video popped up in my YouTube feed, Daydreamers, and it was a short video talking about exactly what I've just presented. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe this. You know, I mean, it's everything in this realm is duality. It's not duality, but everything in this realm's upside down.
Scripted.
Yeah, it's all scripted, and it's all upside down. So we only think, oh, they were put there because, you know, they're put in the most remote place in America, you know, where people literally have to travel to see them or read them. But they're done by the bad guys. No, I really don't think so.
No.
Right, look, we're going to need to move on pretty quickly, guys. I'm going to.
I think they probably told us it was written by some bad organization so that we would revile them. You know, we would just say, "Oh, that's a stupid message." And
well, it was R.C. Christian, and it actually said on there that it's a pseudonym. So they're telling, you know, the guy that wrote them, the guy that put them there, telling us that his name is not R.C. Christian. It's a pseudonym.
Yeah.
You know? Right, George, over to you, my friend. To exit the matrix is to know Gaia.
Okay.
You want to take it away?
Yeah, I'll take it from here. Thanks for showing this presentation. So I've been a geocentric flat earther for some time now, I think the past 3 years. And the number 56 has always baffled me because, you know, Aristotle in many of his works, he was a geocentrist, and he said that there's 56 centers or rings beyond our Earth, the center. So that always, you know, I'm like, why 56? And so many synchronicities started happening, and I started putting different words and phrases into the gematria calculator, as you can see here in the slide. So, you know, not sure, Harry, if you know what Rupus nigra, Agartha, Yggdrasil, and some of these terms refer to.
Well, I guarantee you many people watching have got no idea, so you're going to have to.
You're going to have to explain it to 99% of us.
All right, I'll take the first three here. Rupus nigra is basically the bullseye of our realm, the center where the four rivers meet or join. Yes,
yeah,
that's a good depiction right there. And then we have Agartha, basically meaning the cosmic center or the legendary place where the Earth core resides. Yeah. Yggdrasil, of course, is the world tree at the center of our realm, and many Nordic texts refer to that word. You know, and then with the rules of numerology, of course, 156 basically gives emphasis to the number 56.
Well, for those that don't know, 911 is the 156th prime. Can't make this up. And it's interesting that Get Out of This Matrix is 101. It's my birthday, October the 1st.
Right. Yeah, the 26 prime 101. Yeah, and these Get Out of Matrix, Exit the Game of Life 74. Of course, if you put it in Cibidium.com. It lands on the 56th digit of pi, which is very interesting. You know, get out of hell, full reduction 56. 33, if you write it out, gives us 156. And we know ascension means 33. And these are the four rivers of Eden, Paishan, Gihon, Hiddekel, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Now 263 is the 56 prime number. Again, more irony to the puzzle here. So
you know, if you go to any pastor and ask them what are the names of the four rivers, they'll tell you, oh, we just know Tigris and Euphrates. And I don't know why they don't want to tell us the names of the four rivers, but they only give us those two.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what George was referring to, guys. Agartha, the four rivers, the Yggdrasil, which is the tree at the the center of the bullseye.
Right, and if you look at Rupus nigra there, if you go back one, Nigel, one forward, yeah, the four rivers there, you see Mount Meru, which is the magnetic mountain, and that is 33 miles wide. If you look it up in Wikipedia, they say it's 30. Again, another reference to 33.
Conveniently.
So,
And isn't it convenient too, though, that we think that the moon might actually be 33 miles wide too?
Yeah,
True,
they tell us it's
true.
2,160 miles wide. They should 216 again. So this one, you know, it's interesting that you're talking about 56 here, George, because
Yes.
yeah,
Right.
and how
Yeah.
it's tied to the number 33, and of
Right.
course a figure 6 does look an awful a little bit like the letter G, if you think about it. So you know, the 5 and the 6.
And we see a lot of, like, there's a film company called the 56, a film
Yeah.
company that we've seen.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we know that the soccer ball is comprised of hexagons and pentagons, of which
Yeah.
there's 20 hexagons and 5 pentagons. No,
Something.
12 pentagons and
Yeah.
20 hexagons, which that's what a soccer ball represents the Earth. Yeah.
So the 33 is tied to the 56.
Right. Because look at the atomic weight of barium, 137, which is the 33rd prime, 137. Again, that's the alchemology here with the element barium, which is used in X-rays, you know, X rays, rays of the sun. And,
you know, how anybody can look at this kind of information and see all these connections, especially when, you know, I mean, Logan does such an awesome job with these connections, but how anybody can look at all these connections and still turn around and say that this realm is not a construct or is not scripted, is totally beyond me. You know, these are not coincidences. I mean, Ascension, you've got 144 reverse ordinal, 144,000. You've got 30 in septenary, and you've got 33 in Chaldean. And you know, and 137 is the 33rd prime.
Yeah, and if you add up the cosine and sine of the number 56, you get 1.37, which is another indicator to 33 again.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, so we're going to jump into the tarot.
Yeah. So the reason I brought out the 55 is the one that Logan likes to point out, that if you want to basically, you know, exit the game, you just got to say, I quit. And, you know, 55 gives that away with the people just like putting their backs and just putting the sword down. But then, like Logan said, cards bleed into each other. So if you look at the 56 card, you know, what's entailed in leaving or exiting, it entails a journey, right?
Yeah.
And here we see a woman and her child basically getting into a boat and leaving and trying to basically going to a nearby land. And you can see the land, there's like greener pastures on the other side over there. The whole 6 of Swords basically means making transitions and changes. It even says here where I highlighted it, it says the image suggests that they are leaving behind a tumultuous situation, bound for a more peaceful and supportive environment. Yeah, because they want to leave the tyranny of this earth and just go to another place.
Yeah.
The Truman Show in a nutshell, right?
Yeah, basically. Don't pay the ferryman till he gets you to the other side. Christy Bird.
Exactly.
Remember that song? Yeah. All right, this is the last slide, George. You want to explain this, because what you've done here is you've taken the 6 of Swords and you spelled it out, and it gives us 1669.
Right, and I plugged it in, and I like to use the Jewish cipher sometimes. And if you look at 1669, that's the 263rd prime number, and then 263 is the 56th prime number. So again, it all leads to the 56 again, using different keys or ciphers of the calculator here. So
Yeah, and it's
it
interesting how in 5 of those ciphers they all reduces to 9, 9,
right.
9, 9, 9, and 9. Yeah, the 22 is not reduced to 4 because it's a master number. But if it was, it would be 4, the same as Chaldean and septenary. Yeah, so you'd have
Yep.
in those you'd have 5 9s and 3 4s, which is really really interesting. And I when we were talking earlier, George, I said if you look at 1669 as a year and remove the added 1,000 years, you've got 669, 9's an inverted 6. So again, you've got a coded 666. And that's what the last 2 of our podcasts have been essentially based on, is the 666, the 616, and the 216. And we've made it abundantly clear what they mean. So I think this is the last slide. So you want to run through this with us, George?
Sure. So basically, knowing the shape of the Earth and that we live on a flat plane is essential towards making your way out of this realm, ascending to a higher plane of consciousness. On a globe, they teach you that, they demonize everything, making it look like a tundra, a frozen tundra in the North Pole. And like I point out in this image, they don't want you to go there or see anything or know anything. But we know that, the ancient cartographers, they show that it's a tropical realm. It's like a crater in the center, but these 4 realms are not like frigid areas. You can still navigate to them, but of course, due to the North American Treaty, they basically jailed us out of going there. So we don't.
Yeah. Well, I think even Admiral Byrd is on record as saying that it's kind of green and fertile up there, even though most of us know what and who Admiral Byrd was. But again, they sneak a little bit of truth in with the deceptions.
Well, the same with the Antarctic,
Right, Harry, can I just stop you? Can you and George just take over for a minute? I've got to pop and pull the washing in. It's just started raining. I'll be 2 minutes.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, just like the Antarctic, where you're not allowed to go to Antarctica, at least not to past the first few miles. How could it be that that's the only treaty that every country agrees on? I mean, that it's just beyond the realm of reality almost. I mean, I can't put 5 people in a room together and have them all agree on everything, let alone 130 plus countries,
Right.
And those countries probably don't even like each other, some of them, but yet they're going to agree to this. Something's definitely rotten in Denmark.
Very rotten. And in the other Flat Earth documentary, The Next Level, they even show you of people trying to pass the 60th parallel, and you have these like police on boats just stopping everyone from going. You can imagine how many like police ships are patrolling that parallel.
Yeah,
I can just imagine. I must be
right. I'm back.
Well, I mean, what are they protecting everyone against? It's kind of like the seatbelt law, right? If you don't want to wear a seatbelt and you're going to die in the accident, then it's your fault. But the bottom line is, what are they protecting us from in those 66 parallels?
Oh, they don't want us seeing the dome or the holographic ceiling we're under, because the closer you get to the edge part, the ceiling height is a lot lower. And I think the 1958, that's why they banned the 1958 Britannica, where it even shows how expeditions measured how high the ceiling was at those areas. I think like 13,000 feet.
Yeah, they said in the Encyclopedia Britannica, I think it was 1953, somewhere around there, a dome at 13,000 feet. Oh, exactly. That's a cloud. Yeah. I mean, look, it kind of is what it is, but I think the biggest takeaway from all this is to understand that not only is this a construct, we're in some kind of hologram, but also that, our lives are scripted. I mean, when you and I were talking earlier, George, I mean, you're an American living in, well, you're a Greek American living in Thailand because that's where you're supposed to be. I'm in China because I'm supposed to be there, or supposed to be here, So it is what it is. So, all right. Well, thanks for sharing that all that
That's a
information.
great presentation. Yeah, I love that. Love the numbers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're welcome. Yeah.
So
love to get on board with you guys maybe another time, but yeah.
Mate, you're welcome anytime. I mean, we've connected on Telegram. You can connect with Harry because Harry's in the Telegram group as well. Okay. And yeah, anybody else wants to join, then they're more than welcome. But I'm fascinated by these disappearing things and reappearing, and it just blows me away. I mean,
I've had there's one I didn't mention to you. I've had these paranormal like stuff happen to me in the past. One other one that I forgot to mention to you is a praying mantis suddenly appearing on my back. And this is no joke. I was walking with my friend in Edgewater, New Jersey. You could see the New York skyline across, and many times we would just take walks, and he's like, just out of the blue, he's like, the next second, he's like, George, you got a big praying mantis on your back. I'm like, what? Wow. You're kidding me, right? And I'm like, I started shaking my shirt, and I felt the weight of it. And I'm like, can you help me get it off? He's like, no way, bro, you do it yourself. And I'm like, wow. Gee, thanks. And I started panicking like crazy. And as I started like moving it, this huge thing started like flying up out of like from my back. And I saw the praying mantis make its way in the air. It was just something very freakish. Another,
I wonder what Anne-Marie would have to say about that, Harry.
I don't know.
I'm sure she'd. I'm sure Anne-Marie would have something to say about that.
One of the most
I don't think you find
ferocious insects that even kills little animals.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing I ever saw, and I don't think you find praying mantises in New Jersey. They're not found there, as far as I know.
I will. What I'll do when we get this up, I'll email the link over to Anne-Marie. I know she watches our stuff anyway, but with a timestamp, and I'll see if she can get back to us on what she thinks about that about a praying mantis on your back. I'd be very interested to see what Annie's got to say about that. Yeah, that'd be very interesting. All right, guys. Well, look, is there anything you wanna finish with? We've just got a couple of minutes left before we hit our 40-minute time limit. So, Harry, what about you?
I just wanted to repeat some of the stuff that we already said. In the event that people are watching movies, a lot of times we're desensitized with a lot of the stuff that we're talking about today. Because they put them in such terrible movies, and you're expected to look at these as untruths or just fantasy or just ridiculous notions, whereas in reality, these are the things that are really kind of pointing to truth.
Well, I've got something that I wanted to mention. There are two stories that I can that spring to mind. One is The Boy Who Cried Wolf. We all know that. And the other one would be The Emperor's New Clothes. We all know that, right? And I think, we're getting many comments about where people are saying that things are getting more and more difficult to discern, and I think we've now reached the point that if we were told the truth by the powers that shouldn't be, that many people are just going to say, no, that's more bullshit. This is the epitome of the boy who cried wolf kind of thing. And I think we're either at or we're very close to that stage in our quote unquote reality of that kind of coming to pass.
Well, I think that showed itself, 15 years ago when reality TV went on. People watching others living in one room or one house or one island, and they told us this is reality TV, whereas in reality it was just scripted. It was all BS, and it was always predetermined. I watched a movie with just a couple nights ago. It was called Spree. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's about this guy who does a podcast and cannot grow a following. He never gets enough views. And so he decides to just do some outrageous stuff. But people are perceiving the stuff to be false or fake or tricks. But in reality, he's killing people. And and no one really believes that he's actually killing, poisoning, shooting, and running over people. But in reality, he is. And at the end, of course,
well, for the benefit of me and George and all the guys watching this, is it worth watching, Spree?
Oh yeah, it was. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. It was worth seeing.
Okay. What year was it? Can you remember?
2020, I think. 2020.
Okay.
But it goes hand in hand with what you're just saying. As people are gonna the year of deception is within us. It's upon us.
One of our subs, I'm sorry, I forget your name. I forget who it was, but left a comment and said, watch the movie called The Signal. Well, I pulled it up on Flicktor, and there's two. There's one from 2014, one from 2019, I think. So I'll have to get a bit more information and see which one he's referring to. So if you listen to this, my friend, let us know The Signal, which year, because there's more than one with that same title. So all right, guys. Well, we've got 2 minutes left, Harry. So you're going to have to hit the stop record button. So George, anything you want to finish with?
Nothing really, except I totally agree with the movies and them throwing nuggets of truth, and especially more recently, you pointing out the antidote. That was a mind blow. But and the Matrix started it all for me back in 1999. But many people thought of that as a documentary, kind of outlining what reality is today. The holographic nature of reality, and I totally concur with that.
The same with They Live, and that was 1988.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Anyway, all right, guys. Well, look, we've reached our time limit, so let us know what you think in the comments below, and we will see you on the next one.
All right.
Cheers,
Take care, guys. Thanks, George.
Thank you.